So let's get one cup right here.
Yeah, everyday dose is coffee, but it's also loaded with functional mushrooms.
Lion's mane, chaga, collagen, and L-theanine.
So coffee tends to be pretty acidic, so it's a gut disruptor. But everyday dose is low acidity, so it doesn't disrupt your gut. So I grew up in the south side of Chicago. My parents didn't really know much about like diet, and so at the age of 5, the doctors were like, all right, Jack's like ADHD. He's like bouncing off the walls. He needs to be on Ritalin. So they put me on Ritalin, and then I went to Focalin. Then Focalin didn't work, so then I went to Concerta. Eventually I landed on Adderall. And then for pretty much 20 years, until 25, I went to the doctor and I had high blood pressure. I remember thinking to myself, what the heck? You're 25 and you have high blood pressure? This is ridiculous. So I tried to reduce my Adderall from 30 milligrams to 15 milligrams. But if you take like 3 milligrams or 5 milligrams, you're up till sunrise. It's strong. And the fact that I couldn't feel 15 milligrams, I thought was just kind of like insane. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna quit. And then I started drinking a ton of coffee, and I'd have like an hour of happy energy, then I'd crash. Or I'd drink too much, and I'd feel anxious and jittery. And so I started learning about different like lifestyles and diets and supplements, and that's how I discovered the ingredients that are in Everyday Dose. And so if you were just to come over to my house, I would just make you a drink. Like it'd be like a cacao, hoshiwu, shizandra, lion's mane, L-theanine, collagen, and we'd just drink it. Yeah. And it would be versus like having a cocktail. It was just like my form of like bonding over a drink. Right before the pandemic, a friend of mine was like, this is really good. It belongs in Whole Foods. And so during the pandemic, I built out the supply chain, the website, the manufacturing, the social media, and then I launched it in January of 2021 and kind of grown since then. I know some people are gonna be triggered by this, but I liked Joe Rogan when I was like a long time ago, like 2012, Joe Rogan. And he had mentioned a bunch of different types of supplements, and so I started researching that, and that's how I discovered a lot of the ingredients. And you can just kind of go through like a wormhole after that. I would say the first thing is if a brand is listing 6 or 7 types of mushrooms on their label, run away. And that's because they're putting a lot of everything, but not enough of anything. We call that fairy dusting. So for us, like we want to focus on 2 mushrooms and give you a potent dose of those 2 mushrooms so you can actually feel the benefits of the mushrooms versus just like naming every single mushroom to check off the box. Yeah, I think transparency is going to be super important. If there's anything like rice or oats in there, that should be considered an active compound because it's actually like a significant amount. Like we've done studies with certain brands, I can't say who anymore, because there's been some like legal battles, but we've tested them and 30% of their product is oats. If you ever drink a product and you're done with it and you see a bunch of sludge at the bottom, if you make oatmeal, you'll see that there's also sludge. There's a similarity that's going on there. So I think the most surprising thing is how open people are to change. People really are starting to question the status quo. And so people like you and people like the people that are here are really helping push that boundary.